Hey, how's it going guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toaster Bros, and today we're going to be building a $700 Mini ITX Gaming PC.
It's a tiny PC, but it has a lot of performance under the hood. But before we get into that, let's hear a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by Vite Ramen, some of our favorite ramen out there. Now you might be wondering why as a tech channel we would want to partner with a ramen company. Well, Vite Ramen was founded by twin brothers Tim and Tom. Tim played collegiate Overwatch for UC Davis and didn't have time to make nutritious meals while doing school life and esports, and because of that, Vite Ramen was created. Speaking of nutrition, these things are packed full of protein, all the essential vitamins you need, and enough calories to, well, keep you going, because you know your body needs them calories to survive.
So we have a few of the really good options here. We have pork, we have chicken, and we even have vegan. One thing that we also really love about Vite Ramen, especially in a time like this, is that they really invest into their employees. They do things like no question asked mental health days / sick days, and also they just do livable wages, which is really essential nowadays.
If you want to support this awesome company that just happens to make really awesome ramen noodles, check the link in the description down below and use our discount code on checkout to save a little bit of money. But thanks again to Vite Ramen for sponsoring this video. How I suggest these noodles. We'll go eat them all right now.
Let's go eat them.
All of them. So as we mentioned, this is a Mini ITX PC, which with smaller PCs comes higher prices. Most of the time when you go Mini ITX, you are spending a price premium, but we actually think we got a pretty balanced build here for $700 using a Mini ITX case.
So let's go ahead and talk about the parts that we chose for this PC. So what we have back here in our hands is a Ryzen 3100. This is a 4-core 8-threaded processor from AMD. It's basically 3rd gen, but it's one of their newer 3rd gen processors, and these things are really awesome for the price, if you can find them at the good price, because they're supposed to be $99.99, which we get this for $105, which is what they were. They are now $119 as of doing this video. They might go back down to $100. Look on eBay, look on Amazon, Newegg, look at all the major sellers, even Micro Center, and you might be able to find the 3100 for a good price, because this is one of the best processors, hands down, that you can get for $100. For the motherboard, as Matt mentioned, this is Mini ITX, that's where you get the ITX. This is a B550M ITX AC from ASROCK. Really good motherboard, and honestly, the fact that it's B550 means it's gonna support, 3rd, 4th gen on up, which is really cool. And the fact that it's a B550, means it's a new Mini ITX motherboard, and we're excited to actually try one out. And for the RAM, we decided to go with G.Skill Ripjaws RAM. It's not RGB, but you know what? We wanted to get the best bang for the buck. So this is 3200 megahertz, it's 16 gigs, and it's a good brand, G.Skill. So the fact that it's not RGB, you could spend an extra $10 and get RGB, but we're gonna put an RGB strip in this computer to make it look pretty.
Now for storage, we decided to go with our favorite M.2 drive most of the time, the Crucial P1. This is a 500 gigabyte NVMe SSD. 500 gigabytes is enough to get Windows installed, a couple games installed, and get you up and running. Could opt for 1 terabyte because prices are actually pretty good right now if you want to spend a little bit more money, but to keep it within the $700 price point, we decided to go with this guy. Now this right here is our GPU of choice. This is the GIGABYTE 1660 Super. Now this card is a really awesome value for the money, coming in around $230 most of the time. It gives you really awesome performance, 1070 level performance that you can get on like the used market for around the same price. So going with the new card is always a good option, and you get that awesome NVENC encoder. So if you wanted to stream with this PC, you'd have no problems doing so. Do I even need to say anything about this? This is the Thermaltake 500 watt smart power supply. I mean,
just leave it right there.
That's it. We use it all the time. It's great. And this right here is what makes a Mini ITX PC Mini ITX. This is the Mini ITX Neo Mini from METALLICGEAR. We've never used METALLICGEAR cases before, but we've seen them a lot on Newegg, so we decided to give this one a shot. It is nice and compact. I really like the size of this one. They have tempered glass, and it comes with 1 fan pre-installed. Of course, we're gonna add the RGB strip to make it nice and bright on the inside, but I mean, this is a pretty decent value. I think it comes in around $65 to $70. You could go for a more compact Mini ITX build if you wanted to, but in our opinion, you get more value out of these builds that are a little bit bigger than your standard really small Mini ITX, but offer a lot of good airflow and the ability to use a full-size power supply and a normal-size graphics card. So that's very important with a case like this. I'm excited to build in it. How about we go ahead and start doing that, shall we?
right, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have this Mini ITX PC all put together, let's talk about some benchmarks real quick. Now, the configuration we went with is actually one of my favorite configurations right now on the market. The Ryzen 3 3100, when you can actually get it for $100, is an amazing value processor. And pair it with something like the 1660 Super, you get some really awesome results. And what makes it even better is the fact that this comes in a Mini ITX form factor. So you could go a little bit smaller if you want to compared to the case we went with, but the fact that you can get a Mini ITX build with really awesome performance and an upgrade path with a really awesome price point of $700, this is one of my favorite PCs we built on the channel, no doubt whatsoever. But enough about that, let's talk about some benchmarks real quick. What we decided to test this PC in was Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and Shadow the Tomb Raider. In Warzone, on a mixture of high, medium settings, we averaged around 90 to 100-ish FPS, which is to be expected. This is the situation where we start to see that the 1660 Super is the bottleneck in the system, which is exactly what we want. We want the Ryzen 3 3100 to have some room for some upgrades, and potentially with new generation cards coming out, you could upgrade this 1660 Super to whatever the next budget offering is from Nvidia or AMD. But overall, I was having no problem playing Call of Duty Warzone, running around the map, getting some good kills, and having no problem getting really good results. Anything over about 90-ish FPS is pretty buttery smooth on Warzone, and if you lower the settings even more, you could probably get close to about 120 to 144 FPS for that high refresh rate gaming experience. Next up, we tested Fortnite, everyone's favorite game, and of course on pro settings we got well over 100 plus FPS. This is a good example of a game like Valorant, CSGO, all those different games are kind of under the same umbrella. You're going to get well over 100 plus FPS, high refresh rate experience with this configuration. You'll have no problems playing those games on a high refresh rate monitor, and I think this would be a really good configuration for that. And then lastly, we decided to test Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is our AAA title of choice, which basically gives you all a demonstration on how this PC would run in modern AAA titles. And on a mixture of medium-high settings, we got a really good average of over 60 FPS, which is all we're looking for. In this kind of situation, the 1660 Super is going to be the bottleneck, but that is a good thing once again, because that means we have a little bit of a wiggle room for upgrades in the future. Overall, I think this configuration of the Ryzen 3 3100 and 1660 Super is a pretty good value option. Of course, if you didn't opt for Mini ITX, you could probably build this same PC for around $650, $600, but we wanted to opt for the Mini ITX form factor because one, it's a lot of fun to build with, and two, it's been a while since we've done one, so definitely consider that. But if for some reason you want this build and its performance and you just don't want to opt for the Mini ITX form factor, check the links in the description down below. I'll be sure to include a version that is non-Mini ITX, which is actually going to be cheaper than this one at around probably $600 to $650. Don't quote me on that, I've yet to fully build it out yet, but check the links in the description down below if you are interested. And overall, I'm very impressed with this PC build for the money. How about we go ahead and bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick.
You know what they say, guys, big things come in a small package. And that's it. That's all that's to be said.
See you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. But anyways, guys, this computer for $700 being a Mini ITX PC actually performed pretty well. I mean, the Ryzen 3 3100, when you can get it at the right price point, around $105 to $99, is a great value. And paired with something like a 1660 Super, I mean, you're able to offset some of the cost premium of going with the Mini ITX board and still get a lot of performance. So I was very impressed with it. And this case is actually pretty nice, a good change up from the normal Mini ITX cases out there.
And the one fan design actually really isn't that bad. You can add an extra 120 in the back and I believe an extra 200 or 240 up front. So the way they have it set up, it basically pulls the air in and then goes through the power supply and out the back. So it actually works out pretty well for airflow, even just having the single fan, which is pretty nice, especially on a lower power build like this.
But yeah, guys, overall, very impressed with this PC build. If you are interested in purchasing any of the parts for this PC build, links in the description down below. They are affiliate links. If you use those links, they do help us out.
Also, don't forget to check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
We'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. Such a little boy, so tiny.